My mother always told me to enjoy my 20s because at the blink of an eye, they are gone. My mother always told me to enjoy my 20s because at the blink of an eye, they are gone. She told me don't let your life pass you by. Your 20s are as much about self-discovery and experimentation as they are the building blocks to adulthood. Mistakes are inevitable and failures are also inevitable. But I wish I knew that I had a window of opportunity in my 20s, that I was on a ticking time clock, and that this is no time for decision paralysis, because in a blink of an eye, that door eventually closes. I wish I knew that a shift was happening. I wish I had committed to the idea that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And I wish I knew that attention was the new currency, and that there is no correlation between quality and popularity. If comparison is the thief of joy, then I should have known what has been robbing me of my peace of mind. To steal like an artist means to take inspiration from those that I admire. But I wish I knew in my 20s that even my heroes had a price. Some knew that popularity was the answer to all of their problems, even if it meant that their best work of art wasn't the most profitable. I wish I knew by observing how the course of history was writing itself that I had a choice to make. I wish I knew in my 20s that my time is my most valuable asset, and that if I spend my time building it on my own, then nobody can take it from me. I wish I knew in my 20s that you're either the one that makes things happen or watches things happen. I wish I knew in my 20s not to take for granted the time we have. I wish I knew to listen to my intuition. I wish I knew I was in need of a mentor and that everybody needs help. I wish I knew that by acknowledging that I needed help, that it wasn't a weakness. I wish I knew earlier that doubt is going to get me nowhere. I wish I knew that while pursuing such a creative outlet, that relationships will be hard. I think we've all fell in love with a potential or idea of a person and became shattered when the person that was in front of us didn't live up to that potential. As I mourned and grieved over the death of the idea of a person, I became aware of the pressure I put on these people to live up to an expectation that was unrealistic. I wish the weight of these emotions could have grounded me, and what I once perceived as a mundane part of the human experience could have opened my eyes earlier to a reality that isn't as bleak as I thought it was. I wish I knew myself more as a creative. I wish I knew that just because I spend time processing my thoughts and communicating them artistically, it doesn't mean that I am a great communicator to other people, especially a romantic interest. I wish I knew that whether we drift apart or grow closer depends on how well we can communicate with each other. I wish I knew in my 20s that you're never truly ready, and when all seems to be lost, sometimes all you have is faith. Yeah, being a dreamer tends to be a constant state of delusion. I wish I knew in my 20s that growing is uncomfortable. I wish I knew in my 20s that sometimes you outgrow people. I wish I knew in my 20s that it was okay to let go. And I wish I had the initiative and sense of self-preservation to cut off certain people earlier. The people that I knew would be a problem down the line in a violent and venomous way. I wish I knew in my 20s that it's okay to branch out. And I wish I knew that loss was inevitable. People are going to move away. People are going to lose touch with you. People are going to transition into the next life. I wish I knew in my 20s to be thankful, to be more appreciative, and to understand that people come and go. I wish I knew that everyone was living out their own story, thus don't owe me any attention or patience, and to understand that I don't own people, and I am not owed access to them. Oftentimes, people are in your life for a reason, you know? I wish I knew in my 20s that it was okay not to know what I'm doing. I wish I knew in my 20s that I should value spending time with my family more. I wish I knew that although I'm so dedicated to my craft and my future, that nurturing the elements in my life around that is just as important. I wish I knew the journey was just as important as the destination, if not more important. And it's important to adopt that day in and day out, one step at a time mentality, to have the thought process that I've been blessed to give my gifts to the world. And these ideas aren't invalidated just because the end result is not tangible. What I mean by this is that just because I put something out and the views or likes don't reflect a particular metric of success, that I should just create for the sake of creating, and that's already good enough. I wish I knew in my 20s that existing was God's greatest gift, and that connecting with others is also God's greatest gift. I wish I knew in my 20s that there's a separation between entertainment and real life, and to actively understand that I was being sold a dream, that I was being sold an ideology, none of which that were productive to my development or growth. I wish I knew in my 20s that I can't control my destiny. I feel like we're all a victim of circumstances, and of course these circumstances shouldn't keep us down or stagnant. I still should have known that I can't control what happens to me. I can only adjust and adapt. I wish I knew in my 20s the importance of building a community, because when you fall, they will be there to lift you and build you back up. The fall is only catastrophic when you have no support. I wish I knew in my 20s that I can't go back to the past. I wish I knew that nothing lasts forever. I wish I knew in my 20s that what is in front of me and what is happening in the present should be my priority, because what I do at this moment will determine my future. I wish I knew in my 20s that time will inevitably pass. I wish I knew the concept of out of sight, out of mind. And as much as I may be thinking about a certain person, the chances are they are just dealing with life. And I'm probably not on their mind as much as they're on mine. I wish I knew in my 20s that whatever stresses me out, I should let it go. I wish I knew in my 20s that I won't have to start over if I don't give up. I wish I knew that as long as I keep going, something great will happen. And I wish I knew that on the other side of fear is something that is meant for me to experience. The comfort of familiarity is a wonderful feeling, but I wish I knew to accept fear as a natural process. A process that is necessary for character growth and for finding my purpose. I wish I knew that the work that I put in private on my craft does not equate to increased attention or guaranteed success. Basically, nobody cares is a rule you should live by. And it shouldn't discourage you from improvement. It's just good to know that your expectations are tempered. Furthermore, I wish I knew to have multiple plans. I wish I knew in my 20s to lead by action. I wish I valued the access to knowledge more in my 20s. I wish I listened to my elders more in my 20s. I wish I didn't celebrate and revere celebrity culture so much in my 20s. And I wish in my 20s I didn't idolize anybody but God. I wish I knew in my 20s not to allow things that are happening around the world to harden my heart. I wish I knew that as long as you show up and do the best you can, it's good enough. I wish I knew that I'm not lacking and that everything happens for a reason. I wish in my 20s that I knew I was enough. I wish I knew in my 20s to love wholeheartedly and not to hold back my love just because my ego was bruised. I wish I didn't hold myself back because of what others may have thought. This is me saying that I should have made my art the way I wanted to. I wish I knew in my 20s that I knew that I cannot get to where I'm trying to go by being someone else or living in someone else's shadow. I can only get there by being authentically myself. From me to you.